Don't you just love it how that little village jeep is always dancing?
One positive thing in the Matilda 2 was in the early war in the Western Europe, it was the strongest Allied tank there.
No!
And the Axis tanks, nothing couldn't destroy this. Only Panzer IV.
Well, and of course the German 88.
Well, Germans realized the 88 pretty late, kinda when the Allied forces were already in their point when they couldn't fight back. But they used the 88 against the Matildas in the Africa. And that's why the British forces they designed and take the Valentine, because this one was slow and the Axis used the tactic to lure these tanks to the 88 range, basically.
Well, I'm just in goods right now.
Sorry, man. Cleaner
No,
was...
oh, sorry, game players. I blew
What
you
happened?
up. Like you say, one of my gift tickets just blew up.
Oh, how?
I placed them at the flag, and I think I blew up your tank.
Yeah, the range is quite big on that thing. Oh, Grant, early.
I'm just sending them out because there's...
Basically, in my mind, the M3 Grand is a prototype version of the M4 Sir, because they basically use this same, basically same design at the bottom of the tank. But actually, the grunt is very different tank from design. So it's funny that the tanks, they look all the same, but they're actually different in many ways. Anyway, the M3 and M3 Grand, they were bad, very bad.
Ah, you forgot the FTK, I have to wait. Well,
Sorry.
no problem.
Sometimes I'm forgetting the FTK code, because many players in this server don't use it.
Yeah,
Many of them don't know that the code exists. Even I didn't when you told me that it exists.
The thing is, it's old school. It's back in those days. everything was done in a console, so it's a leftover from the DOS days.
Yeah. Yeah, I studied the Crusader tank, which is kinda one of the first cruiser tanks what the British was made. And where the cruiser tank name comes from, it's actually that they thought back then that the tanks are land ships, which were basically original name of the tank in World War I. They were built basically as a land battleship to go through the enemy defenses.
I left on the D6 flag a package. Don't go near there.
D6. Okay.
Currently leaving one at the German flag and going.
So the cruiser tank name came from the cruiser ship, which is a naval ship, and in usage on the back of the name is there is the cruisers were fast ships, and basically they were very mobile ships. So the cruiser tanks are pretty much the same. They are fast and they are very mobile. And what were the cruiser tanks? There's only 3 of them. Crusader, Cromwell, and the Common.
The one thing they had going for them, they were all fast.
Yes. That's why the name cruiser tank. But one thing what the British had to learn from the first cruiser tank, the Crusader, it was basically unarmed at the time. It was only 40mm, and they upgraded into 50mm, but that didn't work when the Panzer Force became so the most used tank on the Axis side. So they designed the Cromwell, which was kinda well match for the Panzer IV, but also well, also the Cromwell was light armored as the Crusader, so they designed the Comet. But the Comet, well, the Comet actually had armor and gun, and it was fast, but it came too late in the war, so it was kinda, well, it was kinda overrun by the modern tanks after the World War II, so it wasn't used much in the British army. I think it was used only 5 years or 6. So it was used on early 50s, and they replaced it with the other tanks. Oh man,
No problem. I'll get my own transport shortly.
Anyway, he died. What is the 20-second charge kit?
For the halfway point, let's say 20 minutes, I start asking for the next map.
What is the 20-second charge kit? Oh, here.
I have it.
Oh man, my teammate killed me. And he didn't say so. Oh no. So how I wrote the MTK code. This is how in the console how I wrote.
FTK, that's it. That's about as simple as it is.
Oh, I thought it would have the one mark in front of it, but no. Valentine Mark 7. I thought there was also Valentine in this map which had the rockets or boosters on the sides of the tank.
I'm delivering the goods again everywhere.
Yeah. I see your empty car in the map, and the enemy can also see it. £50. Anyways, I have Valentine Mark 8.
And I got shot out of my car.
Oh, Valentine tanks are popular right now.
Ah, and my kid is popular. But I get traveling because it has to reload on this damn Willys Jeep.
Although I found one flaw in this tank in this game. It doesn't have a machine gun. And it seems that it shoots only and only the anti-tank rounds.
Well, I guess they had to skip on the machine gun and just basically upgun the tank because they were trying to beat the Panthers.
And they didn't include high explosive rounds. Oh wow. Anyway, time for the old school Matilda 2. It's not fast, but it's armored enough. And it has a machine. But it only shoots AP rounds. Which is what I basically use it most in this. I found out the Panzer IV can actually kill this tank with the shooting on the back of the tank.
No, I got sniped out of my car. And now there's no more car. Ah. It must have stolen it. This map has a Matilda with the
Valentine.
Valentine with the rockets, right?
I suppose, but I haven't seen it yet.
I guess we have to lose every flag for that.
Probably.
About time I start asking for the map wishes.
When the enemy learns that the machine guns won't do any damage on this tank. It's basically on every tank. The machine guns won't do anything if they are not top opened like some armored cars.
Well, it's now only, why not? It's the only thing that's been put up so far, but...
Well, Remagen. No. maps. For G maps.
Somewhat overplayed, but
oh, I see. Meltdown is one of the maps.
I'm surprised that the guy in the tank didn't team me yet. It's cleaner. Oh.
Cleaner gets never surprised.
After this, I think we should do some more creative maps. I thought about Sandstorm. We haven't played that map in a long time.
I have one. Either Foy or Ortona.
Could be.
I hate Edgel's Ridge so much in this one that I...
Why you hate it so much? It's crazy Japanese style.
Because of that. Yeah, it's too small in my taste. As an infantry map. Also, it's lame because the weapons are creative. It's basically it's one of these kind of infantry maps what are interesting are Battle of Luzon, that's one interesting. Then Stalingrad is kinda interesting, the Red Square or Bonus Square, or basically only thing Pablo is not interesting. Pegasus is interesting because it has basically something to offer. All those maps are, and most interesting, which is kinda mostly infantry because it doesn't have much tanks, is the Marilla Battery. That's the one map which is basically, well, it has tanks, and Axis mostly use tanks also, but in British side I haven't seen them use tanks in the map so far, or so much. So it is basically the most interesting map, or infantry map in this mod?
Well, for me it's any map I like, but there are a few exceptions where I would say, yeah, they become boring. One of them happens to be Midway 42. By being a naval freak, I really don't like Midway 42.
Well,
it's too big. It takes too
if
long.
if the Axis side learns the tactic, well, it is. If the Axis side learns the tactic and use it, it is interesting. If not, it's not interesting. Because when the Axis learn the tactic and start to procedure to kill the objects, it is getting very tough and interesting for the Allied side. When they have to get active to defend targets. But the engine switch, it's just running up to the enemy flag through the defenses, trying to stop the Allied side spawning. And basically it's massive both sides except the Allies. So if they don't use the machine gun posts, which are acting as a spawn points. And yeah, that's the idea in basically explained. Anyway, one boring map, what I find a little bit boring, is Remagen. But it's fun also, because most of the time the battle is on the bridge. But why it's boring sometimes, it is that if there's not enough players for fun playing, it is kinda getting as a cabin flag on the bridge. That's the thing, if you have low player count. Well, now do you want to hear what's the most interesting maps? Well,
the thing is, they don't have a general preference for any maps. That's the thing I like a lot.
yeah, I just tell my opinions. Most interesting map, probably in this game, is Omaha Beach.
That I wouldn't say the most. If I really have to pick a map, is defining for this game, it would be either Wet Trap or Lady Golf. Because
and the second one is the Lady Golf. Why the Omaha Beach is interesting? It is because it's authentic and basically it gives allies pressure to get out from the beach when they land. And that's why it is interesting, because in the real Omaha Beach landing, it was the same. They had a big pressure to get out from the beach and create the basically the Allied base.
Yeah, but the thing is about Omaha Beach, it doesn't really create a unique experience. It's in FH2 you get a similar experience, and in a lot of other games you get a similar experience.
Not in Call of Duty, no.
But if it goes for Lady Golf and if it goes for Red Trap, that is unique. It is so unique that it hasn't been done in any other game.
True. Also, yes. In Red Trap it gives allies pressure to defend the objects, and Axis they have pressure to defend their only one objective, which is well, it is very powerful and basically indestructible from outside, but inside. Anyway, yeah, it is using some kind of pressure in red trap and lady golf. The target is basically the team and use the basically the tactic is to kill the other team by not using so much all ships.
Oh!
So
Damn, radio! Forgive you.
Yeah.
I placed the charts on the tank and then you blew up the tank, so I started flying.
Anyways, but in my mind, the Omaha Beach is in fhsw. It's probably one of the
now
more.
I'm kicked for team kills.
Ah, crap.
Yeah,
Fuck those after kicks. I mean,
while it prevents doing much team kills.
Yeah, it prevents some form of disruption, but there is, well, maybe we should hide in the...
I understand when person kills four players in the row, but when this comes out of the sudden after I don't know 5 or 10 minutes after you team kill to us, this just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we could ask Woo to increase the, and you could do it yourself, you can increase the limit for team kills.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Omaha Beach in this game is the most authentic what I have experienced after all Call of Duty stuff.
It's authentic, but still it's not unique. There are hundreds of games that have done that to thing, but there is not something so unique that hasn't been done.
Well, the second one is the FH2, but that's kind of doing the same. But the FHSW is basically it's harder for allies because they don't get also they have to do the teamwork to get out from the beach. Axis have the easy jobs, just shooting the machine guns, but allies they have to use teamwork to get on the bunkers and then get inside the bunkers.
Yeah, that's true. But also maps I found very instant that we even forgot mentioned. Don't forget Creed 1941. What game gives you the experience of actually transporting tanks to the front line by plane?
Yep, yeah, you have a point there, yes. FH1 doesn't have that.
No game has that.
Yeah. One thing I gotta say, but it's not the same thing. In Call of Duty Big Red 1, which is old game, you fly into Liberator, and you are most of the time gunner in it, and in the ball gun, which is basically the bottom gun of the bomber, you get to shoot the same transport planes what we use in Grid 41.
That's very interesting, but it's still not flying it and actually landing it and getting the tank out of there. It's not the same experience that we have. It's a unique experience that will always make that modification so unique.
But the most interesting part is in the Big Red 1 is the bombing part. You get to be bomber in the end of the map, and well, you get to bomb the targets by using the bomb site.
Ah, and in this game you get to be a bomber in this map every time. It's like, gosh, yeah, you have everything.
Yeah, basically you get to fly the bomber and also use the bomb site at the same time. But if you are flying B-17 or Lancaster or B-29, you need defender, or when you go alone and face a fighter, you got to defend by yourself. But that's kind of risky because the plane, nobody flies the plane then. But anyway, the plane pilot has all the control of flying. Which is, well, true, but the bombing is kind of, well, it's not authentic when the pilot also bombs to use
That's
the bomb.
That's true, but being too authentic is also something that kind of breaks the fun.
Yeah, true. In the I have the game World War II. That's something that's kind of annoying because when you use bombers, it's basically a simulation, very simulation. And basically, when you are using a bomber, there's different parts. Pilot, which flies the plane. Then there's bomber, which uses the bomb site. And then there's a gunner. You can switch through the positions, but you cannot do the same thing all at once. So either you need a crew in the plane, basically two men are the lowest limit, or you can fly alone because the pilot can use the autopilot also, but the autopilot is going out after a few, probably 1 minute is the longest time when you can use the autopilot anyway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't prevent getting shot by the enemy aircraft, because the aircraft are really hard to defend from the bomber without second crew. Anyway. This is basically offering authentic experience of World War II at the same time, but by the easy version, so you don't get the simulation in everything like the World War II Online. So yeah. Weird thing though, what I saw in World War II Online, what I have played this week most of the time, is that it's mostly early war before the Normandy landing,